Oh crap. Now I want to open that tab. Alright. So, off the rip, we have Atlanta. Great ship in terms of utility. You obviously have the 8.5 kilometer radar. And you have hydro. And you also basically have built-in defensive AA, so don't even worry about carriers. Of course, we all know that the carriers will always get through with at least one attack, even when flying through your AA bubble, unless they completely eat your flak. But having great AA, and also dual-purpose main guns, low torpedo range, but okay torps. They're only 4 kilometers, but they're all right. You really aren't going to be prioritizing your torps in Atlanta. Obviously, you have the best armor, no armor, but I mean, you get overmatched by 8-inch guns, so that kind of can become a problem. Great in divisions, and easily a great solo carry boat. Think, especially if you can get on an island. If you load AP against broadside targets, especially cruisers, you'll be surprised how much you can do with your AP. And obviously, Atlanta EOP is an absolute monster to face. I feel like she has been a little bit power crept with the newer ships that have come into the game. But I think Atlanta is a solid B, if not A. And I think she is going to be a great ship. She always is going to be a great ship in either ranked or standard. But this is hard. I think Atlanta can go into A because just the sheer DPM. Yeah, you don't have a lot of range, but I mean, you find an island to hide or slide up next to. You have a good position to just farm damage. There's very few other ships you would want in that position to farm. And Atlanta could just be a monster when positioned correctly. So I think because of the sheer DPM, the great utility that comes with the ship, she earns her spot in A. New Orleans. This is the tough one, because for me, I love my New Orleans. You have that super heavy AP. You basically have Baltimore guns at tier 6. But let's face facts. She has spotter plane and hydro, so not great utility, because I mean every cruiser gets hydro. Spotter plane isn't really a great help. Well, patrol fighter isn't great help. Especially since the nerf came in. Well, the nerf that needed to happen, which was plane spotting. You could just pop a fighter plane and spot something on the other side of an island that was just completely hidden. But obviously the race Citadel, kind of amp maneuverability, easily overmatched. And she has more armor than the Atlanta, so you're going to be eating a lot more full pens because there's more armor to penetrate and therefore more time for the shell fuses to arm. So I love this ship. Okay and ranked. I think we can put her in B though, because you just need it to position yourself correctly and be careful of open water gunfights. Try and find islands to position yourself in, and you'll have a good time. Like I said, obviously they're 203s at tier 6. Pretty accurate too. But kind of the armor for a heavy cruiser kind of holds it back from A tier and lack of utility. Helena, A tier. Don't even have to discuss it. She is in Atlanta with 15 guns instead of 14 guns. So she has an extra gun broadside. She obviously can read an EOP. She's not going to have the same reload of the main guns because she has 152s over 127s, but obviously she has 152s over 127s. Great fire setting chance, great AP DPM, absolutely insane AP DPM. Okay range. It's not going to be anything insane, but it's okay range. Obviously the same utilities New Orleans, patrol fighter and hydro, but easily a great solo carry boat. You can farm battleships with your HE and your AP if they show broadside. Cruisers that turn broadside are just they're going to absolutely be annihilated at this tier by this ship's AP, and Bowen, your HE will just shred them to pieces. And destroyers, oh my god. We think Atlanta versus Japanese destroyers is bad. Helena is a whole nother level. But yeah, Helena is easily an A tier. It's just the sheer DPM, you don't even need the utility. Plus, you have best armor, no armor, so most shots will usually overpen, or like you only get 1 or 2 full pens. So I think, kind of for those reasons, the sheer DPM of this ship is just easily A tier. Indy's a rough one. Because obviously she has 203s, and she has now technically now the second best radar in the game, but she used to have the best radar in the game. But obviously, she suffers from the same fate as New Orleans. It's just she's a treaty class, a treaty era cruiser, so she's a heavy cruiser in terms of armament, but not so in terms of armor. Indy is one of the best support cruisers, where she sits behind her battleships and provides long-range fire support with her great guns. Her AP is insane. It can just absolutely delete cruisers off the face of the planet, and it can make battleships think twice. But it just, I think she's B leaning towards A, because in terms of utility for solo carry, but you cannot play too aggressive in this thing. That goes for all cruisers. You really can't play aggressive because it's just the lack of great armor and maneuverability. She has great rudder shift, but kind of turning circle. And plus, she suffers the same fate as Pensacola with the poor turret traverse. So in this situation, instead of being in C, the utility kind of bails her out. I might have to put New Orleans in C. Because I might have to put New Orleans in C. It's hard. It just having 203s at tier 6 is insane, but New Orleans has a faster turret traverse than Indy does. Not by a lot, but it is noticeable. I think I have to do it. I love New Orleans. Solo carry potential. Ranked 2, just New Orleans is going to be outshone by Indy. I mean, you might as well just have radar. So, yep. I'm sorry, New Orleans. You're one of my favorite ships in this game, but I'm sorry, I have to put you below Indy. Boise, C tier. So, in terms of DPM, it's a Helena. And she obviously has a super heal, which is great, and Hydra, which is obviously box standard. But kind of poor concealment, poor range, and obviously the poor... Boise's a B. She's just a worse Helena. Like, yeah, she has repair party, and that should really put her above Helena, but the concealment kind of hurts her. That poor concealment. Plus the poor maneuverability. It's hard because, like, I'm trying to base this off in terms of utility for solo carry potential. Like, rank, she's a great pick, but holy smokes, in open water, she just eats damage. Which really is a sad thing, because, I mean, she's exactly the same as Helena, but it seems like everybody overpens in Helena, but never overpens in Boise. Oh. That super heal is really nice, though. And having a heal on a tier 6 DPM cruiser is pretty nice. So yeah, I think we can put Boise up in A. She's a low A. She's easily a low A. She should be in B, but she's a low A. Flint, obviously having a gearing smoke and 8-kilometer torpedoes on is it a Brooklyn class? I feel like it's Brooklyn class cruiser. It's basically an Atlanta, but it has the wing turrets removed. Doesn't have radar, but she has hydro. And obviously gearing smoke, so just insane. You can scout because you have pretty okay concealment. Now it's a cruiser, so you're not going to be destroyer level, but I mean, you're the lightest of light cruisers. So you kind of need spotting this thing to use its utility. Because obviously if a battleship shoots, you can keep it spotted, but for a cruiser, you're going to have to get within their smoke firing penalty, which is going to be like 6 or 7 kilometers, and even then you're going to be risking yourself getting spotted. So in terms of DPM, insanely great, but she relies heavily on having something else spot for her. That really goes for all of these things. Oh boy. I think Atlanta needs EOP to really pen with HE, especially considering she gets up tiered. I think for that reason, Atlanta's going to stay down. She's going to be in B. High B, though. Very high B. Fiji. A tier. Short fuse AP, just absolutely shreds anything that shows you broadside. Of course, against bow and targets, it's pain because bow tanking is the way is the meta of the game. But you obviously have the single launch torpedoes, and you have heal, you have smoke, and you have hydro. So you are fully set with utility. You have a pretty decent turning circle, and of course we're still in tier 6, so all cruisers have either no armor or very poor levels of armor technically. Because she is a light cruiser, but she has the armor belt of a heavy cruiser for some reason. And obviously this ship is one of the easiest to just delete because she has the raised citadel, but if you get caught broadside, that's your own fault. But I mean, this thing could just absolutely tear things apart when she catches them broadside. Well, we'll get to battleships. Don't worry, Monty. We'll get to battleships eventually. Don't you worry. But yeah, Fiji is A tier. In terms of utility, in terms of just DPM, just insane. She's a great ship. Great ship. Great for solo. Surrey, D. Do we even need to talk about this? Yeah, she has 2 or 3s. Yeah, she has okay HE. But she has poor utility. Yeah, she has heal. Okay, so she has heal. She has torpedoes, 203s. Other than that, she's a large target that eats pens. She is not stealthy, and she's relatively sluggish, if not just outright poor maneuverability, if she doesn't already just have that. But, obviously she suffers from the raised citadel. But for me, it's just Surreys are so hard to delete in my case, because their citadel is so weirdly placed. It's a raised citadel, but it's very far aft. It's a very weird citadel. You have to look at it in the armor. But I think in just terms of DPM, there's I think she has a slower or about the same reload as the New Orleans and Indianapolis. But having the 4x2 and she's a giant target that just loves to just eat damage. So yeah, D. High D. Very high D. Low C, very high D. Belfast, A. Smoke, radar, hydro. Need I say more? Yeah, you have your HE, but she has the same short fuse AP as Fiji. This ship could even contend for S. Belfast is still an absolute monster. Absolute monster. In terms of armor, we all know, but I mean, armor goes for all cruisers this tier. There are 1 or 2 ships at this tier that have actual usable tanky armor. I think we can easily slot Belfast into S because she has smoke, so she has concealment. She has radar for spotting. She has hydro to detect torpedoes in her smoke screen. She has short fuse AP. She has great DPM, and she also has HE, so she can switch between. Though in reality, you should be. This is a note for everybody out there. You should be using AP in Belfast. Use HE against bow and targets. That's it. Other than that, just stick to AP. Play it like a Fiji. But holy bejesus, this ship is a monster when it comes to AP DPM. And having smoke, having portable concealment, just insane. So in terms of utility, DPM, Belfast can easily be an S tier. Cheshire, not even going to talk about it. Not even going to talk about it. Yeah, you can overmatch Mino. Yeah, you can overmatch Mino. Congrats. You're still going to be absolutely blapped to outer space because you're now Albemarle with even less armor at tier 6. So, have fun. You don't even get super heal. You just get box into repair party. And Hydra. That's it. Other than that, okay, AA. Alright. We all know carriers just get through anyway. And you are even worse than a Surrey. So, and you only have 6 234. So you have less guns. You have I believe you have the least amount of guns at the tier. So yeah, Cheshire, F. Sorry. Okay, Algerie. think B tier. Having that speed boost can really help you get to positions that you need to get to fast. And yes, you have slightly above water citadel, so when you're caught broadside, you're gonna be touched. But that goes with every cruiser at this tier, or at least 99% of them. But you have pretty decent DPM. You have 4x2 203s. You obviously have French don't get AOP, but they have pretty decent fire setting chances, so they have pretty good HE fire chance. And your 203 AP is pretty nice against broadsides. You can smack things around. And you have that speed boost, you have hydro, and we all know patrol fighters, so you can obviously spot for yourself, but it's mainly going to be for like when battleships shoot one salvo. You'll unless you pushed into a cap, you're not going to be getting like hard spots on battleships with a patrol fighter. But I think Algerie can easily. Here's the thing: if Algerie is in B, I think New Orleans has to be in B as well. Yeah. If Algerie is in B, New Orleans has to be in B. Yeah, that's what we're doing. Charlemagne. Wait, hold on. Having a tough time here. Boise moves down. Atlanta is low in A. Yeah, we do that. Charlemagne, B tier. She's Charles Martel at tier 6. She's really just a Charles Martel without a heal and slightly worse armor. So you have 203s, you have 9 of them, so you have same armor as New Orleans, but you also have speed boost and a hydro. Great combination, and you have the longer range French torps. So yeah, I think overall, not insane in terms of DPM, but it's pretty good. Can definitely make cruisers think twice. She's a great pick for arena and ranked. Yeah, I think we can easily put the 2 Frenchies at B. Yorck. Oh boy. You have great hydro, and yeah, you have a turtleback, but man oh man, you have no armor otherwise. Solo carry potential is very hard because if you try to HE spam, yeah, you get the quarter pen on your 210s, but you have anemic HE alpha. It is horrible how low your HE damage is. Your AP is great, but I mean that's with all the German cruisers. Like to put it into perspective, if you saturate a French destroyer hull, so you're shooting at a French destroyer with your HE, your AP overpenning will do more damage to a saturated part of a French destroyer than your one HE shell doing a full pen. So you have great hydro, and you have 6-kilometer torpedoes, so great for engaging with cap. Great with engaging on caps, but oh boy, just kind of the lack of armor. It's a great ship. Yorck's a fun ship to play in, but man, oh man, she is a heavy cruiser in terms of armament, but light cruiser in terms of armor. Because that turtleback, it might save you up close, but mid to long range, if you get caught broadside, expect to be deleted. Munchen or Munich. B tier. She has quarter pen on 150s. She has a 4-second reload. She's really fast, really maneuverable. Hydro, obviously German hydro. Now, of course, she has a race citadel, which is sad. But, I mean, sheer terms of DPM, pretty decent torpedoes. She's a great ship. Just farm the big targets down with HE, sustained HE or AP spam. Engage in close quarters with cruisers and destroyers with your torpedoes and guns. Just know how to position yourself carefully, and yeah, you will succeed. Zara. C tier. One of the longest reloads at the tier. And you have 8 203s, which are fairly accurate, but it can be rough. You have an exposed citadel that basically runs from the bulkhead of turret 1 to the bulkhead of turret 4. You are not really the fastest out there, not really the slowest. Yeah, you have a crawling smoke, but That crawling smoke is really only useful in getting between cover. Other than that, there's no point in you sitting in your own smoke screen. You do not have hydro. Yes, you have torps, but they're the infamous Italian floating sea mines. These things are so slow. They're slower than the American torpedoes. They go like barely above 50 knots. And their damage isn't really that insane either. So, solo carry potential, your AP is great against cruisers, but you're reloading in 15 seconds when something like a Munich or a Weimar or a Tallinn will just out DPM you. So, reality, not a bad ship, very pretty, but aesthetic is an entirely different thing to actually how the ship performs in combat. So, fortunately, Zara is going to Charlie. Abruzzi, D tier. Even smaller caliber guns. Like, yes, you reload faster, but you suffer the exact same. Race, Citadel, you're a light cruiser. You're a light Italian cruiser. DPM, you're alright. Actually, she does have Hydra, though, which can make her a threat to destroyers. She doesn't get smoke. She just gets patrol fighter and Hydro. But obviously having a Hydra on an Italian cruiser is nice. Your HE is really good against destroyers. It's not SAP. It's not like the British short fuse AP. It's not like that. Not like it has a special perk or anything. But I mean, you have pretty decent DPM HE wise against destroyers, but kind of average, if not below average, AP DPM and HE DPM. So I think for that reason, like, they're just better ships to play than Abruzzi. They're better ships. Myoko and Eastern Dragon. Great HE Alpha. Great fire chance. And yeah, you have the long lance torpedoes, but they are poor at angles. So great for kiting away. But just the sheer terms of DPM, it's okay. AT DPM just you can't even compete with it. But AP DPM, your AP can absolutely slap broadside cruisers, but other than that, you might as well just be loading HE to try and just set those perma fires. Just get targets to burn down. Plus, the poor angles on your torpedoes will require you to turn flat broadside to even use one rack. You will have to commit to a full turn in order to use just two of your 4 torpedo racks. And Myoko is a very easy target to Citadel when going broadside by anything. Like a tier 6 destroyer that runs up alongside you can easily just delete you with like 15, 20 Citadel hits. So, great in terms of HE DPM, but solo carry, I think we could slot these into low B, because excuse me. So, in all honesty, these ships, they're okay. They can really get great damage over time, but these things can struggle in 1v1s against other cruisers because of their poor firing angles. They have better firing angles when retreating. So yeah, for kiting cruiser, definitely like high BA, but for solo carry, I think kind of a high C, maybe a low B. And I think that's where we'll put them. Schohrs, oh boy. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. You have radar, which is nice. And you have the Russian 152s. So you won't be pending anything with your HE. You have a pretty low HE alpha, but you can just build for fire chance and you'll just get bullshit fire chance, which is nice. But you have the icebreaker, but you are easily overmatched on the nose, and you have obviously the raised citadel of the Russians. But you have really great shell ballistics. You obviously have radar and hydro, like I said. I think we can put Schohrs in B. She's a great HE and AP spammer because her flat ballistics really help when shooting at targets at longer ranges. But it just goes without saying you have to know how to position yourself correctly to use any of these ships well. So, excuse me. Kind of the sheer, like, the flat ballistics really help with, I know I said that already, but just being able to hit shells on target faster at longer ranges can really help. And obviously you can just shred targets up close. and you have really great AP as well. So she's not as powerful as some, but she's better than others. Weimar, y'all are gonna hate me for this. No, Weimar's busted. If Weimar had her PC reload of 7.5 seconds, I would put Weimar in A. But for some godforsaken reason, Weimar has a 4.5 second reload with 1255mm guns that get quarter HE pen, that can pen 38mm of armor without even having to build for it, and still have a pretty decent fire chance. Plus, your APDPM is that of a Cleveland at tier 6. Plus, you have Hydro and 12 torpedo tubes, 6 on each side. Weimar is just busted. Weimar is broken. We all know this. Current state of affairs, Weimar is just broken. Completely broken. And then there were two. Cross of Dorn. She is a Yorck with no Hydro. She has speed boost and patrol fighter, but she is a Yorck with no Hydro. So she is a worse Yorck. And then the king of tier 6, whomst we all bow down to, the Tallinn. This ship is the king of just sheer accuracy and AP forward shells. Just what's not to like? Huh? What is not to like about Tallinn? Oh, you're a Russian cruiser, so you pour me over loading. Yeah, you still have a 40mm icebreaker. Yes, you have a 25mm valve, but most cruisers at this tier have 25mm and under of armor. You have 12 guns with pretty decent firing range, pretty decent firing angles, and you have great range. You have bullshit accuracy. You have obviously the Russian bias shells that can Citadel battleships, and you have a turtleback armor scheme. Because normally with Russian cruisers they have raised citadels, but because Tallinn was going to be built off of the German heavy cruiser Lutzow, which was an Admiral Hitler class cruiser, technically Deutschland, whatever, history class. I'm getting too carried away in history. But just Tallinn, absolute monster. You have radar, hydro, bullshit accurate guns, bullshit shells. Yes, you have the low range torps. I mean, your AP is just holy bejesus. And yeah, you can say, my HE DPM. You shouldn't be firing HE in this thing. Against bound targets, alright, just know how to position yourself to get their broadside. And when they turn broadside, you'll be hitting them for like 8.5 to like 12k volleys of AP every single time. So, Tallinn, straight busted. It's going to get nerfed along with Weimar eventually. So, current state of the affairs, Tallinn. Tallinn is the king, Weimar is the queen. So, yeah, that's it for the tier 6 heavy and light cruisers. Obviously, with Tallinn, Weimar, and Belfast at S tier, absolutely busted. Then we have Helena, Fiji, and Atlanta at A tier, so really great. We have Boise, Indy, Flint, Nolans, Algerie, Charlemagne, Munich, and Schohrs at B tier, like above average, so pretty good. Then we have Yorck, Zara, Abruzzi, Myoko, and Eastern Dragon at C tier, so could be better. Not horrifying, but they're alright. Then we have Surrey and Cross of Dorn at D tier, we're just like, not really great. And then we have the stupid cat down here at F tier, down where the Cheshire belongs, in the pit of eternal sadness and depression. So yeah, that's tier 6 heavy and light cruisers. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video. Peace.